Hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bob Marcus, and I have created a set of video lessons to help beginning guitar students get started right. I'm going to show you things that will make it easier to practice. I'm going to show you the right technique for your right and left hands, and you're going to become a guitar player a lot faster than you thought possible. Now, some people say, I haven't got talent, or my hands are too stiff, or my ear just isn't right for this. Well, all of that is just negative self-talk, and I want you to do away with that. Everyone has certain advantages and certain disadvantages when they learn to play. Everyone who plays well today plays well in spite of the disadvantages they have. Okay, so you can too. I believe that you will if you follow the instructions in these videos. First of all, let me show you a little bit about the guitar itself. Now, I'm assuming that you already have one. If not, this is a great time to begin thinking about whether you prefer the steel string sound or the nylon string sound. They're both good. It's a matter of personal preference. And if you haven't got a guitar yet, you can go into a music store and try both out, or ask the salesman to demonstrate so you can see what the difference in sound is. Now, first thing we're going to learn is the parts of the guitar. Now, you probably know this is the neck and this is the body, but let me show you a few other parts. This area here, this is called the headstock. And this is where your strings attach, and this is where your tuning pegs are. Over here, these cross pieces on the neck, these are the frets. This bulge over here is called the upper bout of the guitar. This is the lower bout. This is the sound hole, and this design here is called the rosette. Down here you have the bridge, and this is another place where strings attach. This little plastic or ivory piece is called the nut. Okay, now let's get around on this instrument a little bit and see where everything is. First of all, we're going to talk about up and down. Now, normally when we say up, we mean towards the ceiling. But on the guitar, we mean towards the floor. Here's what I'm going to show you. If I do that, I'm going up, even though it's towards the floor. The reason for this is we're talking about pitches going up, higher pitches. Strings, this is called the lower string, even though it's close to the ceiling. And this is the high string. Again, we are talking about pitches and not position relative to the room. The strings are numbered from the thinnest one, the highest string, that's number 1. Then number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They also have letter names. The low string, the 6th string, is called the E string, and that's the note that it makes. The 5th string is known as the A string. Then we have D, G, B, and E. Doesn't matter if you memorize those right now, you'll remember them. The guitar, in playing it, one of the first things we need to learn, really before we play much at all, is how to tune the instrument. And the best way to do that is to use an electronic tuner. You can buy these at any music store, and you can get them online, of course. They're fairly inexpensive. They run maybe $9 to $15. They're tremendously convenient. And what you do with it is you attach it to the headstock like this. Okay, and there'll be a display here that can show you whether or not you're in tune. Okay, now watch carefully. I'm going to play the 6th string, the E string. Of course, you have to turn this on first. You also got to remember to turn it off so you don't wear down the battery, although more and more of these have automatic off switches that time out and turn it off, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to hit this 6th string, the E string, and you see it's actually showing a D sharp on the screen. So we're going to start raising this note. I see an E now, but see the red line? That shows that the pitch is too low. So I'm going to turn the tuning peg. There we go. Now it's right on the E. If I turn it too far, it looks like that. That's too high. Let's get back to a nice clean E sound. There you go. Okay. First thing I'm going to show you is a chord. A very simple chord. It's a G chord. And this is the easy form of the G. You do it like this. You take your third finger and you put it on the third fret of the first string. Okay, you got to be sure it's up on the tip. You don't want to use the pad of the finger. The tip gives you a clean sound. The pad, not so much. Also want to be sure you don't put your finger over here. Okay? You don't get a clean sound. It has to be right up here against the fret. And to play the simplest form of the G chord, you just strum the first three strings. Like that. It's a simple, easy chord, and it works. Now, I'm going to show you another chord, which is the D chord. I'll show you the full form of the D chord in a few minutes. Okay, here's the D chord. Beautiful, sweet sounding chord. This is what we need to understand about the fingers in order to make chords properly. The fastest finger is the finger with the lowest number, and this is the finger number 1. Number 2 is a little bit slower, 3 slower yet, and 4 is the slowest. But they can all learn to be fast. What we want to do, though, is when we make a chord, we place the slowest finger first, and the others can catch up. So, like this. To make the D chord, we're going to put the third finger, the tip of the finger, on the third fret of the second string. Looks like that. It's an arched position. I can show you that easier with the first finger on screen. Some people say it looks like a little house. Some people think of it as a scorpion's tail, but that's the way it is. So you put that finger down, number 3, it's the slowest one. The others will catch up. You take the second finger, also up on the tip, and you place it on the second fret of the first string. I'll take the others away so you can see. Okay, so with 3 and 2 placed, we add 1 on the second fret of the third string. Then we strum the first 4 strings to get that beautiful clean sound. Okay, let's go back and look at the G chord again. This is a G chord, you can use it, but you get a much richer chord if after you place the third finger, you add the second finger to the third fret of the 6th string and the first finger to the second fret of the 5th string. It's a little bit of a stretch, but you'll find that you learn it pretty quickly. And here's the full rich G chord. So you now have the D chord and the G. You may find that your fingers hurt a little bit when you play the chords. That'll go away in a couple of weeks. You will develop calluses, tiny calluses on your fingertips. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but the skin gets thicker there. That's the body's way of adapting so that you can do what you need to do here. All right, let's try the E minor chord. Another beautiful rich chord. We start out by placing the third finger on the second fret of the 4th string, then the second finger on the second fret of the 5th string. And to play the G, you strum all 6 strings. Now, the C chord. We begin this again going in with the slow finger first. I should tell you, don't worry, you'll be able to place all fingers simultaneously, but don't try for that. I would say not for another 6 months at least. You're going to drop them in rapid succession and it'll work just fine. And it will help avoid certain bad habits which plague beginners. So, to make a C chord, you put your third finger there, third fret of the 5th string. Remember, keep it up on the tip and close to the fret. Then you add your second finger to the second fret of the 4th string. And last of all, you add your first finger to the first fret of the 2nd string. Altogether, it's like this, and you're going to play 5 strings. Now, what you want to do is understand that these 4 chords can be used to play hundreds of songs. And I'm going to start showing you songs in your next lesson. For now, what I'd like you to do is to practice going from each one of those chords to every other one. For example, you want to try going from the G to the D and then try from the G to the E minor, and from the G to the C. Okay, then maybe next practice session you start on E minor. Go from E minor. Which chord should we take next? It doesn't matter. Maybe a D chord would be good. Okay, then we could go from that to G or C. And as you go, remember, bring the slow finger in first and then the other two in rapid succession. So I finger a G chord, 3, 2, 1. I finger a C chord, 3, 2, 1. I'm talking about finger numbers. A D chord, 3, then put in 2 and put in 1. Okay, I think that's about it for our first lesson. Some people ask me about talent. Do you need talent? And I say, well, talent is more a thing that you acquire by practicing conscientiously, more than something that you're born with. So I hope you enjoy working on your guitar. I hope you enjoy the beautiful sound of these 4 amazing chords, which can be used to play so many songs. I'll see you in the next lesson. It should be posted in a few days. Have fun.